You're watching a YouTube video right now because you hate television, and I'm here to tell you why I hate it too. Enjoy. First off, I'd like to tackle something that we all have to live with, and that's cooking shows. Here's a test. Turn on your television right now, and I can guarantee there's some British twit putting the final herbs and spices on a filet mignon / chicken cordon bleu for the lucky viewers at home. People watch these shows so that they can cook better meals for their friends and family and partners, but I can guarantee you they'll be getting half-cooked 2-minute noodles because the chef got bored after the first 60 seconds. This is a true story. I'm letting you know it's a true story so you know it won't be funny. I was home alone, and for lunch I usually have Vegemite toast because I'm a fair dinkum Aussie. I had to make the meal, and I was lazy, so you know what I had? I just had the bread. I didn't toast it, I didn't put anything on it, I just had the bread. And you know what? That was a pretty good meal, I remember it fondly. That proves my point though, that we will always go to make the simplest food, and learning how to make these complicated foods will have no effect on our lives. So don't look me in the eye and tell me you're watching these cooking shows so you can make a croquembouche for the next family get-together, because you'll be a filthy liar. You're getting a family bucket from KFC, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with the Colonel. Why are there so many cooking shows on television right now? Are people this desperate to learn how to cook? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2 steps that you need to know so you can cook stuff. Number 1, find what you want to cook. Number 2, put it in the microwave. You're done. Want to make popcorn? Put it in the microwave. You want to make chicken? Put it in the microwave. You want to make a baby? Put it in the... No, wait, don't put the baby in the microwave. Just... don't cook, babe. Just forget I said anything. There's so many cooking shows that in Australia, the 7 network suit the 9 network because 7 thought that 9 created a show called The Hot Plate, which was a direct rip-off of My Kitchen Rules. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. There's a bunch of cooking shows out there, but you're not suing everyone. It's a cooking show. It's not original. Get over it. It's like God suing DC Comics because God goes, hey, you created a character called Superman, someone who can fly, and that's a direct rip-off of my creation. A bird. And it's not just My Kitchen Rules. It's MasterChef and The Great Australian Bake Off and Poe's Kitchen and Ben's Menu and Ready Steady Cook and Good Chef Bad Chef, Restaurant Revolution, Everyday Gourmet, The Hot Plate, and also something that was spawned from hell, building shows. It's 3 seasons a year, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, reruns on the weekend. There's not enough interesting material for that. The episodes are so long, you can actually see the paint dry on the wall completely. That's not a good use of my time. They try to make building and designing stuff so much greater than it actually is. And not to say that it's not important, but a throw cushion that doesn't match the room is not going to start the apocalypse. All the judges on these shows speak like, oh, this relaxing piece of furniture matches the light from the secondary window that then gives off a postmodernism theme and wraps the room in an inviting aura. It's just a bed! Shut up! Do you know, with the amount of seconds, the amount of hours, the amount of days that I wasted listening to you go on about beds, I could watch something good? Do you know how many episodes of The Simpsons that I've lost because of you? When you walk into someone's house, you don't think, how long did it take to create this masterpiece? Or how many people worked to create such an inviting presence? You think, that's a good table, and then you leave. Or you steal it. You steal the table, if you're not really friends with them. It's about the destination, not the journey. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that. And he invented nature. Tune in next time to see what floorboards Andrea picks out over this 3-hour special. Guess what? Nobody cares! If I see another floorboard, I'm going to be floored with boredom. Recently, the 9 Network launched a brand new channel called Channel 9 Life. And all it has is cooking shows, building shows, and the Real Housewives franchise. Or as I like to call it, the axis of evil television. Now, I'm probably being unfair here because I've seen cooking shows, I've seen building shows, I've never seen The Real Housewives. Probably being way harsher than I need to be. For people who have never seen it like I have, here's a few clips I found.
Dunkin' Donuts and oral sex.
You're a butthole. That's your new name, butthole.
She's pretty sharp, that kid.
Kids, you know I went through the cancer.
What cancer?
Had a party in my pants.
Oh, shut up! I hate the word shut up.
God damn it. Who keeps switching my real gun for the fake one? Speaking of suicide, the Great Australian Spelling Bee. With the success of its reality shows, Network 10 decided to premiere a brand new reality show about everyone's favourite thing, spelling bees. Because who doesn't want to watch a child spell a 6-letter word over the course of 20 minutes? The word is spot. It's spelled like it sounds. Just spell it! I mean, it wasn't all bad. I mean, there was this thing they did called a speed round, where the kids would have to spell words in a specific time limit. You know, but the kids would always finish spelling the word way before the time limit expired, so it didn't really get interesting. But it was still cool. The show also had a pretty awesome slogan. Ready for this? Prepare to get spellbound. Isn't that adorable? If this sounds too good to be true, it isn't. There was an episode with a robot in it, and there was a knight in an episode, and then one episode the kids are going to play with dinosaurs. What does this have to do with spelling? Why? Why a robot? What does this have to do with a robot? Why a robot? Why a robot? Moving on to something positive. Now, I'm giving a lot of insults to a lot of channels here, but I do appreciate two channels, and that's the ABC and the SBS, because they give us something that no other channel does. Variety. ABC's great, because you never know what's going to happen next. It's like those toys that used to get those really cheap ones, where like they don't show you what the toy is, but they show you on the back all the things that you could get. You know, it could suck, but you don't know. On ABC, 1 half hour you're watching a documentary on the Westboro Baptist Church, the next you're watching a group of ladyboys trying to make it as a punk band in Bangkok. Have you ever wanted to see the Indian version of 24? Did you even know there was an Indian version of 24? Well, you will now, because it's on SBS! Do you want to see Japanese people climb a mountain on a pogo stick? You can, on SBS! Meanwhile, everywhere else is like, hey, do you want to see all the Harry Potter movies for the 85th time? I don't care if Harry Potter's the only thing you love in this life. 85 times is enough! I want to cast a Avada Kedavra spell on television. There's a Harry Potter joke. It's like all these channels that don't get as many views always have the best material. You know? I mean, look at this video. Doesn't have many views compared to other videos out there. So I think we know what quality this is. Variety is the spice of life, and that's a spice you can't cook with. No one will high-five me, so I'll do it myself. Big Bang Theory is on 4 different channels. That's not variety. It's on 4 channels across 2 networks. We've got it on 9, 99, 90, and 73. Imagine if you were watching this rant and all of a sudden 3 other versions of me popped up. That would be annoying, wouldn't it? That would be annoying, wouldn't it? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. You may not be able to handle it. Big Bang Theory sucks! Not the show itself, but because of what television has done to me, it sickens me. I have heard Bazinga over 5 trillion times. Next time I hear someone say it, I'm gonna create my own Big Bang Theory. My theory being, if I bang my fist against the television will stop. We need variety in life. That's just a fact. If you had no variety in food, and you ate baby food as a baby, then that's all you would eat. You're eating something that smells like peaches, but looks like diarrhea. And that's why you get weird looks on the bus. You know why? Because everybody already grew up. And Tina's getting mad. She's the driver of the bus. And she's going, Daniel, stop eating your weirdly scented poop on the bus. That's 2 strikes, Daniel. 1 more and you are banned from the bus. That's why we need variety. Because without it, Tina's getting cranky and you're banned from the bus. And nobody wants that. The solution is to go outside, watch TV less, and create your own variety. But that's not going to happen. The real solution is to make better quality programming. Spread shows out so they're not on all the time. Create shows based on original concepts rather than rehashing the old ideas over and over again. Or maybe shrink the length time of your shows so you just include the interesting bits. Make better shows. Now I've started making my own show. Here's one I prepared earlier. I cooked a baby. I cooked a baby, didn't I? I microwaved a baby. Dad, it happened again! The following video has major spoilers for Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, and Jessica Jones. So if you haven't seen them yet, Quicksilver dies. Let me just start by saying I don't hate the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I look forward to what they do every single year. But think of it like this. Imagine if one of your loved ones came home one day with a snake around the neck and 10 piercings on their left eyelid. Even though you still love that person, you have to let them know what they did wrong. Normally I would let the small stuff go, but Marvel has been pushing me too far too often, and I can sum up my rant in 2 words. Quicksilver. This rant is dedicated to that little grey-haired speedster running circles around Jesus in heaven like the angel he is! Let's start with Avengers Age of Ultron, and I know a lot of people liked it, and I'll probably catch a lot of flack for saying this, but it seemed like the movie was only there to be cool. Like that kid in school who wears like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt to try and get in with the popular kids, but doesn't know what a Donatello is. The most obvious example of this was the Hulkbuster fight. Sure, it looked great, but it didn't really further the story in any way. They even said in the behind the scenes video that the first thing Joss Whedon came up with for the movie was the Hulkbuster fight. He didn't have the story, he didn't have the characters, he didn't know how it was going to fit in with the plot. All he knew was that when people saw it, it would blow their freaking minds! And it did, it blew my mind. But just because it's cool doesn't mean it means anything. The same goes with that scene when Thor was in the cave. I don't know what that was about. That was when the team needed him most, and he went, nah, I gotta go to a cave and bathe in a pond so I can have weird trippy visions. Drugs are bad, Thor. The director probably went, well, someone built this cave set for no reason, and Chris Hemsworth forgot his costume. Roll the cameras, we'll make it work in post. And that speech that Iron Man gave right before they went to fight Ultron for the final time, where he went, oh, not all of us are gonna make it out of here alive. Was there any real risk there? Black Widow was smashing them apart with ease, and all she had were like 2 sticks. Like, cavemen had more than that. But for some reason, that battle cost us 2 Avengers, like the Hulk. And he ran off on the Quinjet going, oh, I destroy everything I touch. Oh, I'm a monster. No one can love me. We're used to it. Society is used to the Hulk. He saved New York from a giant alien invasion. I think everyone will be fine with him venting every once in a while by destroying a building. We're fine with that, kind of. Iron Man's just looking for attention again, like he did in Iron Man 3, where he went, oh, I'm gonna blow up my suits, so I'm never gonna be Iron Man again. Yeah, look how that turned out. Which leads me to, dare I say, one of the greatest mistakes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm talking, of course, about TDOQ. The death of Quicksilver. They killed Quicksilver! Why did they do that? He wasn't even fully developed yet. He was just a guy with super speed, and they killed him. Quicksilver only died because of what Iron Man said. Like, oh, we gotta lose one of us. Stupid, dramatic Iron Man. Kill someone else! Kill Captain America, he dies in the comics all the time and he's fine. The credits had more screen time than Quicksilver. That's gotta be saying something, alright? And nobody cared. Nobody mourned over the death of Quicksilver. I'm pretty sure none of them even noticed. Did any of them notice? Because I did! I have to stop talking about Quicksilver now. Because if I start now, I'm never gonna stop. Let's move on. Now on to Ant-Man in the morning of the Quicksilver of the Ant-World. His name was Anthony. That's genius right there. Killing Anthony was to give Ant-Man a reason to get the Yellow Jacket suit, and to show the audience that Yellow Jacket was evil and the bad guy. But we already knew that, so Anthony died for no reason. We already knew Yellow Jacket was evil. There was a scene where he literally killed a crying baby lamb. That's enough. And we knew Ant-Man had a reason to get the Yellow Jacket suit because A, he wanted to be a hero to his daughter Cassie, and B, he was already halfway through the mission. Like, if he stopped now, he would be a dum-dum. That was the one ant they gave a name to, and they killed him. Imagine how great it would have been if the ant that got turned big at the end was Anthony, and then Cassie got to look after Anthony. Instead, she looks after this weird, stupid ant with a stupid ant face. What, you think you're special? You're not Anthony! Also, that Falcon scene, that was... Does this look like an ant to you? I'm just getting a little sick of Marvel throwing random characters into movies just because they exist in the same universe. We all get that these characters exist in the same movie franchise, but they don't need to be near each other all the time. I mean, we can accept that maybe Thor's busy, and that's why he can't help. A good example to get past this was in the season finale of Arrow Season 3. There was a scene where Ra's al Ghul was going to destroy a whole city with a highly contagious virus. They called the Flash in, and the Flash went, "Nah, I gotta go talk with someone. I could do it at any time, but, you know, bye." I'm not saying it has to be to that extent every time, but superheroes don't need to be right next to each other every second of every day. And this doesn't just apply to Ant-Man. This applies to every single franchise. Stop it! There are more superheroes in Captain America Civil War than there were in any Avengers movie. That isn't a Captain America movie. That's an Avengers prequel or midquel or not Captain America. Captain America has been in a movie every year since 2011. We get he's part of the same universe. Let him take a break. He's like 80 years old. The other heroes that have nothing to do with the story should just have quick cameos at the most. Quicksilver. Speaking of Quicksilver, they could have brought him back. They could have easily done it. Death doesn't really apply in the Marvel movies. So why does it only apply to Quicksilver? Coulson died in Avengers and now he has his own TV show. Nick Fury died in Winter Soldier and got brought back to life in the exact same movie. Why suddenly is it such a big deal that when someone with actual superpowers gets shot, they're dead for good? He's got super speed! The Flash catches bullets all the time! This is how Quicksilver catches bullets! He's got an accelerated healing factor, he's got enhanced durability, he has so many powers that could have gotten him out of this situation. There was a scene right before Quicksilver dies where he gets shot through the arm and he just shrugs it off. Bullet wounds are only a mild annoyance to him. Little did we know, bullets affect Quicksilver, but only sometimes, for no reason. Sort it out, Marvel. Which brings me to Daredevil. I can't make fun of Daredevil. That's one of my favourite Marvel things ever. Which brings me to Jessica Jones. The Jessica Jones series is like a giant fiery car crash. You can't look away because you want to see at least one person get out of there alive. Let me save you some time and let you know that no one ever does. I know Marvel is trying to make more gritty and grounded products on Netflix, but there's a difference between gritty and hopeless. The whole series for me was leading up to Jessica Jones becoming a true hero. Everyone was telling her that she can reach her full potential and overcome everything she's been through. She didn't do any of that. In the last episode of the series, Jessica has a chance to imprison the ultimate bad guy, Kilgrave, and make him face justice for everything he's ever done. Instead, she just snaps his neck. She kills a guy. And before you say superheroes kill supervillains all the time, let me just say those are under different circumstances. In Man of Steel, Superman had no choice to kill Zod because Zod was about to blast a family with his heat vision. In Spider-Man, Green Goblin kills himself while trying to kill Spider-Man. Remember, Spider-Man jumps out of the way of the glider before he realizes what he's done. That was an accident. Even in Incredible Hulk, Hulk had restraint when he was fighting the Abomination, and the Hulk's just a giant ball of anger. Jessica Jones, under full control of her actions, knew what she was doing, and she killed Kilgrave anyway. I don't know what the equivalent of the timeout corner is for super people, but she needs to go there. The final nail in the coffin for me was in the last scene of the show, where Jessica Jones is in her office, and she gets a call from someone saying, "Help me, I'm in trouble, and I heard you're a superhero who helps people. You're the only one who can help me, so please help me." And she just hangs up on them. Where's the hope in that? Kilgrave doesn't get punished, Luke Cage leaves, Patsy's boyfriend becomes a psychopath, and Jessica Jones becomes a complete negative Nancy. And that's where they leave it. What am I supposed to gain from watching this show? Just, everyone, cheer up, okay? You're making everyone else depressed. For me, Daredevil will always be gold, and Jessica Jones will always be silver. So, Quicksilver. Speaking of Quicksilver, Quicksilver is one of the most iconic, well-known characters in the Marvel Universe. This is his first appearance in the MCU, and they killed him in less than a minute. He's one of the most popular Marvel superheroes out there, and they gave him 35 lines. And 3 of those lines were the same thing. Quicksilver was going to live originally, He was going to get a new costume, join the new wave of Avengers, and then Joss Whedon stepped in and went, someone has to die. Maybe Marvel just wanted to see someone die. Maybe Joss Whedon wanted to see someone die. They just wanted to see how we'd react. But why did it have to be Quicksilver? He was so young! This was his first movie! He was less than a day old! Marvel Studios killed a baby! At the end of the day, I don't hate the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about the fate of these movies. I'm looking forward to Captain America Civil War, I'm looking forward to Daredevil Season 2, I'm looking forward to it all. And it shows that Marvel is doing a good job with their movies because years later I'm still talking about them. And there's so much more stuff that I wanted to talk about that I didn't have time for. But when Marvel starts making little mistakes, like Quicksilver, and then starts making bigger mistakes, like Quicksilver, it worries me. You probably all expected me to announce my undying hatred for everything Marvel by the end of this rant. But in reality, I just want it to continue and improve so that everyone can enjoy it. So to all those people who thought I'd be angry at the end of this, in the famous words of Quicksilver,
You didn't see that coming?
thanks for watching. Quicksilver away! How fast was that? Who needs friends when you have a camera and 10 minutes of free time to yourself? Hooray! I was a latecomer to the whole Facebook/social networking thing. I was a latecomer to a lot of pieces of technology. I'm like an 87-year-old man trapped inside of an 18-year-old's body. My life is like that Freaky Friday movie, except in my case, we never switched back. So the result of that is me and an old man in a retirement home doing kickflips on his skateboard and reciting sketches from Key and Peele. So the problems that you all dealt with years ago, I'm still dealing with because I got a late start. And now I'm going to rant about them. And this rant doesn't just apply to Facebook, it applies to all social networks and the people that we have to deal with on them. Including VKontakte, Europe's #1 social network. Have you ever wanted to keep in touch with your friends in the beautiful language of the Russians? Da, пожалуйста! Have any of you even heard of VKontakte? It's in the top 10 most used social networks in the world. Primarily used in Russia. Anyway, to sum up, I'm socially awkward and I was bound to have issues with Facebook. So when I joined Facebook, the first problem I ran into were those little lights on the side of the screen. For those who don't know, there's green lights next to all your friends' names on Facebook to show if they're online or not. So I would log on to Facebook, and if I had nothing to reply to or check up on, which I have to admit happened a lot more often than me actually doing something, I would log off immediately because there was nothing for me to do. But then, it dawned on me. If I can see when everyone else is online, everyone else can see when I'm online. And more importantly, they can see that I log off after 5 seconds because I have nothing to do. So they're all thinking, what a loser! He has nothing to do on Facebook! He's such a complete blockhead! Or something, I don't know. I get all my insults from Peanuts. So now what I do is I keep track of the lights before I log into Facebook, and I just wait for them to turn off. I just sit there and wait. That's pretty sad. But the problem here is that one of your friends could be doing the exact same thing on the other side. So they're not going to log off until you log off, and you're not going to log off until they log off. So you're both basically stuck there for eternity. I had a friend, Tim, who died waiting for me to log off of Facebook. And when he died, I didn't mourn, I was happy. Because you know what? It could have been me! These are the kind of dilemmas that only exist on Facebook. Another problem I have is with chat groups. Back in senior school, I took a psychology class, and everyone in that class, minus me, thought it would be a good idea to put all of us in a chat group together so we could talk about what we had learnt during the lesson. Which they never did talk about, by the way. I got put in this chat group a long time ago for a class that was filled with just, like, they're the worst. So after this class ended, the group continued to chat and the messages kept popping up, and it irritated me because I didn't really want to be part of this in the first place. So one day I decided, you know, enough's enough, I'm finally going to leave this chat group. And right before I was about to do it, pretty much the day before, someone else left before I did. And it notified everyone in the chat group when they had left. And I didn't know that was going to happen. And they just ripped into him. They made fun of him constantly after the incident, and because of it, I am still part of that chat group to this day, since October 2014 because of the fear. Again, very sad. In fact, this is no longer a rant video, this is a plea to the audience. I am currently being held hostage in a psychology chat group by 10 different people. They all understand how Stockholm Syndrome works, so I'm in great danger. Somebody send help! Facebook gives us insight that we were probably better without. Which brings me to status updates. A status update allows users to discuss their thoughts, whereabouts, and important information about their lives with their friends. I say friends because friends would never let this happen. And I'm not going to rant about all status updates because they have their place. I'm going to rant about specific types of status updates. You know the ones that aren't to the girlfriend saying, I love you. It's to everyone else saying, I love my girlfriend and she loves me because she's my girlfriend. We're in love because I have a girlfriend and you haven't got one. I'm aware of my situation. You don't have to keep rubbing my face in it. Those status updates that are just, oh, I'm so truly blessed. Blessed is a word only used on Facebook. You would never hear someone saying that they are blessed in real life because they know they would immediately get karate chopped in the throat because it is the smuggest thing you can say about yourself. Let me tell you something. Jesus was blessed. You're just an idiot with a selfie stick and a girlfriend. And you could argue that this is jealousy, but it's not. I get status updates sometimes that say, I finally got a job, or I moved out of my parents' place. I'm so proud that I'm living on my own. And I think to myself, wow, good for them. They deserve this. But these types of status updates are very rare. Most of the status updates I get are, hey, look how much stuff I have. Look how good my life is. I am truly blessed. You're just showing off. And for people like me, who don't have as much stuff to show off, it makes us hate you more. But don't worry, there's a solution. For every status update that comes from the land of sunshine and ponies, there's a status update that unleashes darkness into the world. Such is the circle of life. These people use the internet to vent their negativity and their problems, not so that they can get help, but so that everyone who reads it can suffer with them. Lovely. And they always have to end their status updates with a sad face emoji and a weirdly depressing hashtag. Hashtag my life sucks. Hashtag this news looks nice. Hashtag just found the medicine cabinet. Hashtag don't wake me up. If you laughed at any of those jokes, you are a sadist. Hashtag not blessed. This person obviously needs help, so you may like the status update so that it gets noticed and people who are actually close with this person know about it. But you're liking it. Someone is saying the world is better off without them in it, and you are responding with a thumbs up. It's very confusing territory. So you can either like the update and make the person feel worse about themselves, or ignore it and just hope for the best. Here's a warning for you all. If you become friends with someone on Facebook, you are entering an implied agreement to make sure they don't kill themselves during this relationship. It's a lot harder than it sounds. And given that some of these users are in the 13 to 17 age demographic, that is a great amount of pressure to put on a young mind. Now remember, boys and girls, drinking bleach doesn't make the online pain go away. Having the ability to make a status update is a privilege, not a right. Meaning it should be taken away from you if you suck. This is unrelated to the whole social aspect of things, but this is something that happened to me on Facebook. Whenever a big disaster happens in the world, Facebook sets up these donations so that the millions of people that log onto Facebook every day can know about what's happening and give little bits of money that add up to great amounts. I remember when some disaster had happened. I don't remember which one, but it was clearly close to my heart. Regardless, I had some money left over from something I bought online, and I thought, I'm not going to use this, it might as well go to a good cause. So I went to the donation page, entered the amount I wanted to donate, and Facebook said no. They refused to accept the amount that I wanted to donate because it was too small for their charity. Money is money! Shut up and take my money! Only on Facebook can someone set up a foundation to help people and then refuse to accept the help they get. But you can't get rid of these people. You can't block them or unfriend them no matter how much they annoy you and depress you and refuse to accept your donations. Because they'll know what you did. They see everything. There are probably ways to turn this stuff off and make my life on Facebook easier, but as I said at the beginning, I'm an old man. I have much more important issues to deal with, like graying hair and incontinence. So it's most likely my fault that Facebook is a problem for me. After writing this rant, I realized I wasn't as irked by Facebook as I was irked by the people that I let into my life because of it. I just have to get better friends. Maybe that's the solution. Maybe Facebook is just a way to show you how stupid and terrible your friends are, so you're forced to go out and make better friends. That's a great social network. But I guess the moral of the story here is that I hate my friends. And when I say friends, I mean my friends. I don't hate my friends, I hate my friends. And friends only exist on Facebook. Therefore, I hate Facebook. If you have any friends you want to tell them, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, like my Instagram, circle me on Google+, swipe me right on Tinder, get me a job on LinkedIn, pin me on Pinterest, and show me a minion fin content! If you're watching this video on the go, like on your phone or tablet, you're probably slowing the person behind you down. So on behalf of that person, I'd like to yell at you, get out of the way! As you may have already noticed, I'm a very tall person. I mean, my head doesn't even fit in the frame of the shot. So the things that bother normal-heighted people don't tend to bother me as much. All those problems are usually closer to the ground, and I don't see them because my head is high above the clouds. But there are issues that come with being tall. I think all tall people in the world will agree with me when I say this. I have an issue with people that don't walk. Oh, not those people. I didn't mean that. I mean, I'm ranting about slow people. No, not that type of slow. This is getting confusing. I'm talking about people that move in the path of me while I'm moving towards my destination, that have the ability to move at an appropriate speed, but instead do not. Hopefully that doesn't offend anyone. I'm not asking for much, I'm just asking move at a normal speed. I'm not asking you to sprint everywhere, I'm not crazy. Well, maybe I'm a little crazy, but the slow walkers of the world drove me to it. Staring at the back of people for so long, it changes you, shows you who you really are. Anyway, on to the jokes. My first encounters began, like most things, at school. Here is where I realized people of the world don't want to get back to class as quickly as I do. Don't know why that would be. As a result, I saw a lot of my peers walking at really, really slow speeds. Like, really, really slow. Holding everyone up who had places to be for a long time. Trying to get to class, I would see a scene similar to looking out onto the mall in Dead Rising. A sea of zombies, too brain dead to move and realize that they are in everyone's way. And I'm just talking about my classmates. As a man of science, I've developed many theories to explain this, and now I think they are ready to be shared with the world. Theory 1 is that people just want to be first. It's like all these people think that walking places is a race, and once they're in the first position, their job is to slow everybody else down. My sister was probably the first person who annoyed me with this. To be fair, we were little young'uns back in the day. She hadn't finished growing, so she wasn't going to keep up with me, her older brother anyway. But what I noticed was that when I managed to dart around her and walk at my normal speed, she was just stepping on the back of my shoes. When she was in first place, she was all for bobbing and weaving to get ahead of me. And once she got there, she was like, okay, time to relax. It's not a race. It is not a game. There is no gold medal. There is no Olympic event for walking. Except for race walking. If you're an Olympic athlete that was practicing race walking, then I apologize. This rant is not about you, and good luck in Rio. But if I'm being completely truthful, you're not very good. I mean, I'm not an athlete, I haven't been training, and already I'm overtaking you. But there are more people to blame, like the builders who decide that one lane is enough space for 300 people. And the pathways are always just wide enough to make it look like you can go past someone, but you never can. Because they keep swaying around, blocking you off. You try to go past them on the left, they merge left. You try to pass them on the right, they merge right. I would excuse this behavior if we were on a boat, or there was an earthquake, or you were drunk, but I'm a university student. University students don't drink. If you're gonna walk slowly, at least give me the opportunity to go past you. Keep left unless overtaking. I guess one of the reasons why this happens is because theory 2, the person is in front, so they can't see the furious people that they're creating behind them. You have to be aware of your surroundings. I mean, just because you can't hear the train doesn't mean you should have the picnic on the train tracks. You have to see people, hear people, smell people, taste people. You would need consent with those last two, and I don't know many people that would be okay with you sniffing them. But if they are, they're probably going to be okay with you tasting them as well. Another sense that isn't used much is touch. So people walking anywhere, if you have a feeling that you're holding someone up but you're not really sure, just do a quick one of these. Just do a bit of an elbow attack, like that. If you hit someone or you hear a braking noise, run off. And they'll be happy that you're out of their way now. Maybe just have a quick check behind you to see if you're holding anyone up. if you look behind you and you see a line starting to form where there's nothing to line up for, maybe speed it up a bit. But it gets even worse than this. There are people out there that will just stand in walkways, usually in packs, and not even move. They'll just stand there and talk, completely oblivious to the fact that I want to go past them. And I don't mean to sound rude or anything, but the people that tend to block the walkways are usually wider. You know what I mean? I'm going to try and say this as politely as possible. Well, it's not really an issue. I'm not really trying to. It's their life. It's their struggle. Because metabolism, it's different for everyone. And there's groups. It's more like, I'm not trying to judge. It's just they're fat. Than less fat people. Hey, fatty! You know it's a great way to lose weight? Walking! Hey, guys, it's called a walkway, not a talkway. We did it. We did it. The perfect joke. The perfect joke! I had a situation recently where I was walking up a flight of stairs and there was someone in front of me and they just stopped. Why would you do that? They just don't care about the people around them. She could have stopped at the top of the stairs and given way for everyone else to get past. But no, she stopped on a step. She stopped on a thin ledge that not only blocked anyone else's way from getting past her, but put her own life in danger. Do you know how many people die on stairs every day? Another theory is that people walk slowly because they're doing something else while they're walking, like talking on their phone or reorganizing what's in their bag. A different way of saying this is that some people are idiots that don't know how to multitask. See? I'm multitasking right now. And I'm not smart. I've been told that many times. It's very easy. Left foot forward, right foot forward. Repeat, repeat, repeat. We learnt this at a very young age. It's not left foot forward, brainstorm what foot to use next, then use that foot. It's not that difficult to remember what foot to use next. You have two options, and you already used one. This is not my fault, by the way. I'm not intentionally walking at a fast pace, so I'm not late to wherever I need to be. I don't walk fast because I'm running late. I'm a prompt person. I leave early so that I get where I need to be. And in the worst case scenario, I'm on time. Theory 4, I don't think people understand urgency. In traffic, when you hear the siren of an emergency vehicle, people get out of the way so it can go past. But when they see a normal person, nobody cares. I had an idea that may work. I need to put a light bulb on my head. Hear me out. I'll put a flashing light on my head and carry a megaphone wherever I go. And every second I'll yell, "Move it, move it, move it," and that'll be my siren. Then people will see that I have places to be and they'll move faster or safely get out of the way. I'm not running late, I just want to be on time. The more likely outcome would be that people would just get annoyed with me. They'd try to distance themselves from the guy with the light on his head. But if they're moving faster to get away from me, that's a success. The final and probably most plausible theory is that people walk slower when they're with others, like family or loved ones. People walk slowly together because they enjoy each other's company. They want to spend as much time as they can with the other person, and walking slower increases the amount of time they have together, which is sweet. To have someone to walk with and spend your life with is something special, and it shouldn't be interrupted. However, if you're ever walking along with someone and suddenly the sun disappears, everything goes pitch black, it could be because I'm standing above you, blocking the sun out with my tall head, wishing you would walk faster and plotting my justice. If I had a nickel for every time I've been walking behind someone and the person in front of me just isn't moving, I would have more things to throw at them to get their attention. I'm just sick of leaving somewhere, seeing a giant crowd of people and having to go, well, this is going to take a week longer than I thought it would. I'm sorry if I went into a rage here and there. It's just, I've had a long time to brainstorm this rant. The sad truth is, I've spent a lot of my life waiting behind people. I should be used to it by now, but I refuse to give up. I still believe in people, and I believe that one day people will walk with purpose again. That's all it is. It's a motivation issue. People need motivation to move faster. So you know what? Here you go. Here's your motivation. Everywhere you go from now on, I want you to pretend that I'm right behind you, breathing on the back of your neck. That's pretty creepy. Now the only way to get this creep to stop breathing on your neck is for you to walk faster. Fear is a great motivator, so from now on I want you to pretend that whenever you're walking, your worst nightmare is right behind you. Even if that nightmare is little old me. And aside from a nervous condition and night terrors, you'll be a better person for it. Thanks for watching. See how quickly I got off screen? Normal people do this. I do this. One step. Learn from me. My latest invention is a giant metal casing people sit in that has 4 wheels and can go up to 240 kilometers an hour. We'll give it to anyone who asks for it and charge them roughly $34,000. I call it quickly accelerating trouble. Before I officially start this rant, I would like to announce that I am a nervous person. I'm afraid of most things, so this rant may sound like the ramblings of a madman, because it probably is. But I have to get this off my chest because for the past year, this thing has been driving me mad. No pun intended. I have been practicing to get my driver's license because I am now at that age where it is expected of me to be a driving person. And I hate it. When I drive, I'm always asked by the passengers in the car why I always look so tense. Why are you so scared? Why don't you calm down? Why not? Because you just gave me a weapon. You gave me the equivalent of a hand grenade and I'm frantically trying to keep the pin in or get it someplace where it will cause the least amount of damage. Because that's what a car is essentially. It's a weapon. It's a large mobile casket made of steel hurtling through space at speeds faster than any man, woman or child can run, and one slip up or mistake can cause multiple catastrophes that spread out across time! On the bright side, if you hit something, a pillow pops out and you can get an afternoon nap, so you know, swings and roundabouts. I played Grand Theft Auto and Twisted Metal at an age early enough for it to affect my mental development, so now whenever I drive and I don't crash, I think, you just used up all your luck for the month. Don't go driving again. But now let's look at some examples of people known for their driving and the ways it ruined their lives. Marty McFly, known for his driving, and he almost erased himself from existence because he was driving so fast he went back in time. Speed Racer and his whole family were dedicated to driving, and what happened? His brother died and it tore them apart. These are all fictional examples from television or whatever, but television has taught me a lot about driving. Like, to not do it. There are more ads on TV for safe driving than there are to stop smoking. Inhaling poison directly into your lungs is less dangerous than getting behind the wheel. They say flying is safer than driving, and there you have gravity constantly trying to push you down. From this, we can determine that driving is a death sentence that forces you to pay for petrol. And petrol isn't cheap. I do understand why people enjoy driving and want to get their driver's license. I mean, I don't, but people have told me why they do. Having the legal right to drive gives you this new freedom and power that you didn't have before. The problem with that is a lot of people don't need more power. Going back to the original description of the car, it is like a giant metal shell that blocks out any of the negativity or common sense, so you can do what you want. And some people want bad things. They feel they can say what they want, do what they want because they're protected and they can get away with it. Literally, it's very hard to give chase when the offender can go easily 31 miles per hour. Road rages and street racing are all caused by people being given power and making sure they use all of it. Yeah, I know, every party has a pooper, that's why we invited me. People feel safer behind the wheel because they are surrounded by a layer of metal and glass. You can't hurt me, I'm invincible! Those are the famous last words of any angry driver, because when drivers become emotional, they become less rational, and when they become irrational, they quickly crash, and all. One-way road, what do you think I am, a peasant? I have a car! Power corrupts, and it is not a coincidence that car is in the word corrupt. And the bigger the car, the more powerful they feel. Just look at the four-wheel drive. Every single person that has taught me to drive has said the same thing. Four-wheel drives think they own the road. And they kind of do, because they take up 4 lanes. Oh, there's a smaller car in the parking spot I want. I am the predator. Why merge into another lane when I can straddle the line and use both? I want to do a U-turn on the freeway. Everyone will just have to wait for me. No one does anything about them. And I don't blame them, because we both know that that is a fight they will lose. Traffic lights try to control the power, but even they're not perfect. That's right, I'm gonna rant about traffic lights now. Nothing is escaping me today. The problem I have is when you get to the traffic lights wanting to turn right, and the green turn right light turns on, and then it goes out. It doesn't go red, it goes out. And this means you're supposed to go whenever you think it feels safe. The whole traffic light system is designed to tell you where to go, when to go, because it's safer that way. But here they just go, good luck. This is bad because some people don't know what they're doing. A lot of people don't know what they're doing. The one thing that everybody learns when they're driving is that you're not learning to be a good driver, you're learning how to drive to other people's conditions. Now that I have over a year's worth of experience under my belt, I understand this. Some people are driving that don't know how to drive. So just stay out of their way. Nowhere else in the world are idiots tolerated. Why would they be? Timmy, you're doing very well in class, but we're gonna have to ask you to stop doing that because some of the kids aren't as smart as you. We are holding back the human race and the advancement of automobile technology just because some of us haven't figured out the rules of something that was invented in the 1600s. Do you know why we don't have hover cars yet? It's because people like this keep having stupid accidents and all the scientists of the world are going, no, they're not ready. Can you imagine how many accidents they would have if they were in the air? So maybe people are bad drivers because of stupidity, maybe because it's arrogance. I think we can all agree it's not our fault when we get into an accident. It's the lady who's talking on her phone and doing her makeup in the reflection at the same time. Or maybe people are bad drivers due to the car itself, because those things are breaking down all the time. Every little thing that goes wrong with a car needs to be checked on by a mechanic, because that little thing could mean that the car just doesn't work anymore. Cars are like that friend that get a cold and then they end up in the hospital for 5 days because they have no immune system. Oh no, this tiny piece has some water damage, so now the brakes don't work. Stay safe. Also, it's gonna cost about $1,000 to replace this, plus the hundreds and thousands of other things we found that were wrong. Looks like you broke, but your brakes don't work. I'm a funny mechanic. We need a better system. We need a car that doesn't break down all the time. Or better yet, just stop making cars. I mean, we do have alternatives. What happened to horses? I mean, we spent decades making specific shoes for them that they can't get off. And now we're not using them. Let's get our money's worth. Using a bike might be better. I mean, you never see a bike getting repaired. You either see a bike that works or a bike that was in an accident and is no more. There is no middle ground. Hot air balloons. Elegance in the sky. I miss those days. No, more accurately, I did miss those days. Maybe I'm being a little harsh when I say we should stop production on all cars. Most of my rage comes from recently learning that my previous driving instructor may have been scamming me out of $60 a week for about a year. Now, I won't say his name because that would be immature, but I will say this. He is pedantic. I won't go into everything he did because there isn't enough time, but I will go into one thing he did called the old lady trick. If we were practicing a slow speed maneuver and my instructor thought that I wasn't paying attention, the brakes would be slammed and my instructor would say, "Oops, old lady, you almost hit that woman." I was convinced that I'd almost hit an old lady. I mean, I couldn't believe I was so careless. I shouldn't be a driver. Turns out there was no old lady. This was just another way for my instructor to teach me how to drive. I learnt a lot. Once he had done this multiple times, I caught on to the fact there was no old lady. I wasn't a bad driver. He was just an evil man. Or she was an evil woman. Like I said, he is anonymous. Or she. I guess I should have noticed the quality of my instructor when he misspelled the acronym CCTV. I'll say that again. He spelled CCTV incorrectly. When I told him about it, he said he wouldn't correct it because it would be too much work. Well, I'll be damned. He had a bottle holder too, probably because it was too much work to actually hold the bottle. Excuse me, could we get this man a straw? He doesn't want to strain his neck. This is your job. You do work at your job. You should not be complaining about doing this work at your job. Also, why did they decide that 16 was the right age to get your license? Fill in the blank of this sentence. That is a hysterical blank-year-old. Everyone filled in that blank with 16, so why are they allowed to drive? Ugh, the girl I went to prom with isn't responding to my texts and now my hormones are acting up again. Where are my keys? When you have a teenager speeding towards you in their mother's Commodore, screaming a battle cry while their voice breaks every couple of seconds, it's very hard to know how to appropriately react. I wouldn't be ranting about this if everyone wasn't pressuring me to get a license and telling me that it is a great step into adulthood. I mean, look at me. Look behind me. I have a Deadpool poster and a Marvel chess set. Doesn't matter how many licenses I get, it's not going to change that. So this message goes out to the entire human race. I hope you're all watching. Be better drivers. Be calm. Use your powers responsibly. Stick to the road rules. And that way the government won't have to keep putting those ads on TV that make people like me overreact. More importantly, don't let your 5-year-old play Grand Theft Auto and Twisted Metal while his mind is still developing. I mean, I got lucky. Imagine if I had been playing Hello Kitty games. Then what would I be afraid of? One day I will appreciate everyone encouraging me to get my license and see how great it is having this freedom, but for now I am happy not seeing the point. The message I'm trying to convey here is that soon I will have my own driver's license. I'll be able to drive alone without supervision, and I'm very excited because when I get my driver's license, that means I will never have to drive again. Thanks for watching. Alright, I said hot air balloons are the way of the future. Time to get in my own. Okay, I didn't think this story. I'm actually very nervous right now. Somebody get me down from here! Dictionary, noun, a book or electronic resource that lists the words of a language and gives their meaning, often giving information about their pronunciation, origin, and usage. What a load of garbage. I don't proclaim to be a master of the English language. I are known not to speak words good. But it doesn't take a master to understand that recently the criteria of acceptance for the dictionary has lowered in quality and increased in attitude. There are some things out there that just don't belong in the dictionary. I don't know what it is, but you can tell when a word isn't a word and is just vocal vomit. When you see a duck, you can sense it, and you can tell that it's not a dog. You can just tell. Or how you can tell Nick Fury isn't an Avenger even though he hangs around with them all the time. All he has is a gun. And sometimes he doesn't even have that. But somehow these vocal vomits keep getting classified as words, so now it's time to call out the dictionary. It's supposed to be better than this. The dictionary is an example of perfection and order in this world. Now I have to rant because it's screwed up. Let's begin with the one that will cause the most controversy. Amazeballs is now in the dictionary. We all have to live with that. This is not a word, and I have a very good explanation, according to myself. Amazeballs is a combination of two words, amaze and balls. Amaze and balls are already words, therefore amazeballs cannot be. Like the word isn't in the dictionary, but the words is and not are. And the word aren't isn't a word, but the word are is. I think I said that correctly. I have never heard of a word that has brought such universal disgust before amazeballs. You'd think genocide or terrorism would trigger people more, but amazeballs always seems to get the largest negative reaction. And now it's immortalized. It's in the dictionary, and our great-grandkids will be rolling their eyes at it. Because these are the types of books that get left behind. These are the ones that get discovered by new societies thousands of years later and represent a snapshot of what we accomplished. New words get added and outdated words get removed based on the events that are happening around us. And I, for one, do not want my generation to be remembered as the dunce generation. And we will be if we keep this idiocy up. Words have to be made up sometimes, and that's normal. But those words were invented by English geniuses and scholars. Most famously, William Shakespeare created words for his plays because no words existed to sum up his ideas. They were invented out of necessity, and they caught on among the larger population. I seriously disbelieve that newer words, such as amazeballs, were invented by scholars and geniuses. I think they were invented by someone mumbling in their sleep, with a person sitting next to them saying, "That sounds like English." Another example of a word invented by the dunce generation that is now in the dictionary is lol. Lol is a shortened version of lollipop and is issued at the end of a statement as a reward for someone for saying something humorous. Because everyone loves lollipops. I know what lol means, and again, it is not a word. You could argue that this is a word invented out of necessity, but there is a difference between necessity and laziness. Does writing ha take up more time than writing lol? If it does, you're writing it wrong. Do you remember when text used to be written in words on scorched pieces of paper with a hawk's feather dipped in ink? My dearest love, the memory of your face has never left my mind. I long to hold you in my arms again. With you, I feel a peace in my life, and I wish that I can grant you the same happiness that you have given to me. If you were to write this today, it would sound like was that romantic or was it a stroke? And when people use the word lol, they're not lolling. Lol means you heard a terrible joke and you feel sorry for the comedian who came up with it. It's never genuine. If it was, people would actually spend time saying the words instead of not putting in the effort. Effort is a measure of how much you care. So when you say something like soz, we all know you're not soz. We're giving people who speak English the excuse not to speak English and just yell whatever sound they think captures their point. This is similar to when a baby cries because it's tired and its parents disown it until it learns English. And if this keeps up, this show will have to be called Duh. And that's not a good title for such an intelligent show. A more popular addition to the dictionary is dolt. Not dough, not the thing you use to make bread, dolt, as in from The Simpsons. It's the thing Homer says right after he's been caught strangling his son. Never thought about it like that before. Dolt gets a bit of a pass from me because it's from The Simpsons and that's one of the shows I watched religiously when I was younger. But it's a slippery slope. You can't just add any catchphrase you want to the dictionary, otherwise bazinga will be an official word. And we don't want that. The Oxford Dictionary does a Word of the Year event, and since at least 2012, the winners have been undeserving. In 2012, it was a tie between Omnishambles and GIF. In 2013, it was Selfie. In 2014, it was Vape. And in 2015, the winner was an emoji called Face with Tears of Joy. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is a word now. This is a word now. An emoji is a word. This emoji is a word now. What are you talking about? They added an emoji to the dictionary. How do you spell that? Should I use the words that describe it or should I use its Unicode? U+1F602. Happy birthday, everyone! Oh look, here's a picture of my cat, Muffins. He's so adorable. I put his picture in the dictionary under all the S words. Deal with it. What is the primary use of a dictionary? Junior school spelling classes. What letter starts an emoji? What is the meaning of an emoji? How many syllables does a smiley face have? Not the words smiley face, but an actual smiley face. How are kids supposed to pass spelling if there are no answers to their questions? Kids have enough problems as it is. Maybe this was an intentional choice for a word, or maybe it was a weird advertising campaign for the Emoji Movie. Either way, it's dumb. You may be thinking, wow, the dictionary's just adding every word and non-word they can find. But you'd be wrong. There are some words out there that are words that are not in the dictionary. I don't understand it. Recuperate and farming with a PH are not in the dictionary. You know, those words that aren't words. It's not American Idol. You accept a word if it's a word. You're not searching for the best word. If it is, then we're in trouble because right now everyone thinks the best candidate is ahead. With rants like this, there should always be mentions of the positives. Not all words are bad. There are some good words out there, like fire. That's a good word. It's one of the longest lasting words in humanity. It exists across all continents and languages. It has multiple meanings. It really has gone strength for strength. It means real fire, but it can also mean you're performing at an optimal level. Like, you're on fire. It can also be a bad thing. Like, to be fired means to be discharged from an occupation or group. Fired's second meaning is that you've been discharged out of a gun or a cannon, which can be a good or bad thing depending on your career goals, depending if you want a career east or west. And the existing selection of English words aren't perfect. Frank Woodley once brought up an excellent point about the word casualty. Should it have the word casual in it? That's it, really. If there was something wrong with languages now, I think they would have been repaired centuries ago. It's only been in the past couple of years that people have been making bad choices about words. Words like moobs and oompa loompa and forget about it and biatch and scrumptiddlyumptious and YOLO, Yoda and Yoda-like. 2 words to describe something as having the attributes of Yoda from Star Wars. They're all real. They're all real. I'm hoping that this is just the phase. Everything must go through a puberty change eventually. Buffy the Vampire Slayer went through a depressing phase in season 6. Crash Bandicoot went through a phase where he had tattoos on his arms. I went through an awkward phase when I was younger. that's still going. We all go down the wrong path at some point, and most of us find the way back. We all want to belong and be liked. We're all insecure. Even books. The dictionary people are probably doing this to attract a larger and newer audience by including words that are popular among the in crowds. But at the end of the day, it is the dictionary. Unless the new edition is called Dictionary and the Order of the Phoenix, you're not going to get that audience you hoped for. It's an educational and informational book. No one reads the yellow pages for fun. I swear, people will be more accepting of you if you stop trying to be cool. The world has issues, and one of them shouldn't be worrying about all languages being destroyed. Just, please, make sure words stay words. It's your duty as the dictionary to do that for us. If you lolled at this video, make sure to subscribe. That would be amazeballs. If you thought it was an omnishambles, let me know in the comments. But remember to let the small stuff go. Forget about it. That would be very Yoda-like. Faced with tears of joy. That's a legitimate sentence now. Never going to write anything again. Now you're probably asking yourself, am I going to be painted turquoise or honeydew? Well, you gotta ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do ya? Punk. Now, paintball happened to me a while ago, but I still feel the need to talk about it. Because some memories don't heal. It's not because I have PTSD, because I would have to go through something legitimate to be afflicted with that. I have not traumatic at all, a bit more than mild stress disorder, or PNTAABMTMSD. Because I remember things from that day that I should have forgotten a long time ago. I should have seen the signs before going in. The sign of me telling everyone that this is my first time paintballing and everyone around me saying, oh no. Who says oh no to fun? I have never watched a scene that goes from joy to fear more quickly than at paintball. Yeah, we're all having fun, yeah. No, stop, put it down, stop pointing at me. No, stop. Okay, we're all having fun, yeah. There is something fundamentally wrong with the state of paintball in the 21st century. This will be my campaign slogan when I run for Prime Minister. Considering that the overall tone of this place is welcome to war for kids. With that in mind, this isn't about me. This is about saving lives. While talking about me. The most common complaint about paintball, and it's pretty obvious what it is getting shot. Because it hurts. I've seen it. I've seen soldiers all playing around like it's fun and games and then whimpering and hyperventilating by the first contact of those little balls of death. And they justify the pain by saying, it shouldn't hurt, it's just a paintball. It's okay, I'm only shooting you with paint bullets. You're still shooting me! Stop it! It's okay, I'm only stabbing you with a paint knife. Just because you put paint in front of a word doesn't make it any safer. Just like putting a post-credit sequence at the end of your movie doesn't mean that anyone wants to see your sequel. The fumes from the paint alone are hazardous enough, and the place reeks of it. I love the smell of paintball in the morning. I have to chase that dragon. You have to pay for your paintballs as well, which I'm not complaining about, but they should work. The whole point of a paintball is for it to burst, which makes undeniable proof that you have been shot. Sometimes the pellets don't burst. Like the people making them want you to get even more hurt. When a pellet is fired at high speed, it gains high energy. When it hits you and doesn't explode, all that energy is transferred into you instead of just enough energy for the pellet to pop and the excess energy to disperse. That's using physics to explain the boo-boo. The pro when this happens is you get a free bullet. The con is I can't pick it up because my arm is dead. You may be saying to yourself, oh, Daniel's a wimp if he's complaining about paintball. He must have thin skin. Get over yourself, princess. Hey. You weren't there. My friend got shot in the testicles. Close range. It was his girlfriend's birthday he was at. How is he supposed to make a speech when he sounds like this? Much like BB guns or the school game of ditching rocks at your friends' faces, it's painful. And would be banned if worrisome parents learnt about it. And then the head figures of this whole scenario decide to implement rules, as if they are still in control. Once you give your underlings guns, while you have no gun, the hierarchy changes. We do not and will not listen to what you think we should do. It'd be like the bank teller telling the gunman where the best parking is for his getaway vehicle. Also, I don't know about the rest of you, but I have trust issues. Especially when it comes to people pointing rifles at me. In paintball, you quickly get overwhelmed by the amount of people around you with high power weapons. You may start out on the right path, but in your mind, you know all it takes is one mischief maker to send you to the hospital. It's common sense to be preemptive, even if you're being yelled at that it's illegal. Who listens to the rules in paintball? There are no rules in war. In World War I, the dueling sides would sometimes stop to have tea breaks with each other. We are not having tea breaks. It's a new generation. We have smart cars. There was a temple arena that I fought in, and I was told that I was not allowed to climb on any of the set pieces, and I had to go back to the start when I got shot. And they told me this like it would be something that I'd agree to. I don't care what the employee said about going back to the start. I'm taking that golden monkey from the temple, and I'm going home. You may be yelling instructions through a megaphone, but I have a machine gun now. Ho ho ho. As I said, they market paintball towards children. Children already hate rules, and now you're giving them weapons. They don't need weapons. They'll go nuts with the red power of rage. I suppose that safety is not a pressing issue here. The worse condition the game is in, the more fun you have. I can tell, because they always lead us into the woods where the law can't find us, and then we start shooting each other. All they gave me before I shipped out was a helmet and a camouflage jumpsuit, which did not work because I kept getting shot. And the helmets were certainly not built for paintball purposes. I bet they just found random motorcycle equipment and thought, that'd do. All the helmets were heavily worn and definitely on special at the time of purchase. These are the safety standards of paintball. I wear more protective gear when I go outside. Do I get weird looks from passers-by? I want to be as protected as the Michelin Man, just covered in durable armor with high bounceability. I'm pretty sure they also offered cups, but if they were in the same condition as the helmets, I'll take a pass. Well worn means an entirely different thing down under. Maybe there isn't protection so that you can have a memento to take home with you. You see that bruise, son? You can keep that. You can't even be proud of your injuries when you're outside of the arena. Oh, this wound? Yeah, I got it from a paint disaster. When you get a scar from something like saving a life, you feel powerful and heroic, like it's your Medal of Honor. When you get a scar from paintball, you feel like an idiot. Like, how did I let this happen? Which brings me to my own experience of being shot with a paintball. Warning, the following comedy contains content that may concern some viewers. It was at the point of the day where I'd seen the casualties of war. I'd seen people be shot with a paintball, have minor panic attacks, and never be seen again. So I was not eager to get shot. I was mainly providing cover for others. I was saying, don't worry about me. You can have the golden monkey. It's not even gold, it's made of styrofoam, you moron. I was staying in one spot, and I accidentally started a turf war with another person from the other team who had also gone through the same aversion therapy I had. Neither of us wanted to get shot, but the other guy was a risk taker. He made a run for it. We started firing rapidly, and it was confirmed that I was hit. More specifically, he hit my hand, which was the only part that wasn't covered by the protection. Thanks, paintball! And as I sat there, dealing with the shock, I looked down at my ring finger and I thought, I don't remember getting hit by a red paintball. It was then when I had my moment, like in Nightmare on Elm Street when they realized if you die in the dream, you die for real. The paintball broke apart and the casing cut open my finger, so not only was I bleeding from it, but it was covered in paint. This is going to be infected. I'm gonna have fluoride blood for a month. In the end, I just fired all my shots into the air so I could leave. Oops, I have no ammo left. I guess I have to stop playing now. Those are the rules. And I still have the scar from where he shot me. Oh, no, I don't. Paintball also doesn't offer a lot to their customers besides their battle gear. There was no food vendor, there was no readily available drinks, there was no on-call psychologist to treat us for the acts that we committed. I would pay for life-sustaining materials. There is a market for these things. Capitalize on it. I honestly think they expected us to hunt for our food in the woods. Look, guys, I found a bush full of berries. No, that's not a berry, that's just another errant paintball. I just ate paint, I don't feel well. Luckily, in my scenario, one of the mothers decided to bring the ingredients for soup and was making it while we recovered at the end of the day. It didn't help that people were still dripping paint around the soup. Turned into a lead-based pumpkin broth. What happened to bowling? That's a classic pastime for special occasions or just for mucking around. And there's food and water, and there's a claw machine that you can actually win at. Even if bowling is too dangerous for you, there's a bowling video game in the arcade corner. Bowling has everything. I got a turkey once. That's 3 strikes in a row. I'm not going to say if it was in real life bowling or playing as Homer in The Simpsons bowling. You can make up your own mind. Laser tag is another choice. It's almost identical to paintball, except accidentally shooting your instructor has less harsh penalties. But if those don't satisfy and you really need excitement, then why don't you try, I don't know, taser tag? Give all the kids taser guns and get them to shoot their friends with those little hooks and send electric currents right through them. You can tell when someone's been shot because of the stain made when they void their bowels. What makes paintball stand out from these alternatives is that paintball has unwelcome guests in fully grown humans who take the sport way too seriously. They bring their own costumes, they're allowed to use their own custom guns, but they always forget to regret their life choices. I'm not saying that if you're a professional paintballer you've taken a wrong turn at life. Only if you ruin birthdays professionally. Get your own match away from us. Stop pitting the veterans against the newcomers. We stand no chance. Happy birthday, Clark. Blam! Who else got a cake today? If you really want to go to war, join the army. We have plenty of countries to fight. Switzerland has been neutral for years now. You can't go that long without making a decision. They're definitely up to something. Stacks on Switzerland! This is just a stray observation, but the place I went to had a graveyard arena. And that seems inconsiderate. Boy, this tombstone's making me sad. I know, I'll paint a smiley face on it to make me feel better. I'm sure the family won't mind. Look, tears of joy. I understand why people enjoy paintball, but this was my first and only time, so I'm still taken aback. They should make a do-it-yourself kit for people like me. You can shoot yourself in the comfort of your own home, then you can make a rational decision on whether you want to keep going, instead of finding yourself in the middle of nowhere without warning. What are you gonna do? You can't call for help. You're out of cell range. Until that kit happens, it will remain a different hobby. As in a hobby with a difference. It's the only hobby that makes you sign a waiver. It's the only hobby that will leave the birthday kid crying for actual reasons. Other than the brat didn't get the high score. It's the only hobby where you will be as colourful as the language. If you want to try paintball, just remember the golden rule. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. At the end of the day, it's not killing anyone on a notable basis, and it has a large enough age-appropriate audience to keep it going. It has become one of the main choices of outdoor games for the world, so good on them. Joke's on the employees though. They're the ones that have to wash everything later. And they have to, because those are the rules. Oh, I've been waiting for this. This is the angriest I've ever been in a rant. They won't see me coming or going because no one at my school has any way of finding this. That's right, I'm going after my school, and I'm mad! Here's some physical evidence of how much I hated my school. This is my portrait photo from my first year in reception. And this is that same photo taken 13 years later. Notice the difference? Like happiness? That photo was shown at my graduation, in front of all my peers and their friends and families. I have issues. I won't name the horrible school that I went to because there is no doubt in my mind that if I did, they would craft a hefty lawsuit against me. All I'll say is that it was Anglican. That's bad enough, isn't it? I don't want to learn about the Bible again. I know what happens. Look out, Jesus! I can see Judas coming a mile away! When I say it was a horrible school, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was filled with horrible people. One person tried to sand their tongue on an electric sander. One person ate a whole chili pepper to see if they could take it. Can you believe that it was the same person? That's funny though, I'm not complaining about that. But it raises the question, if this is the level of disregard they have for themselves, what could they do to others? One time I was playing basketball by myself and a group of bullies stole it from me, so it was a fair fight. I went to get a teacher and he told me, they're not stealing, they're sharing. And then he walked away! Nice one, Sherlock, you solved another case. No wonder he taught PE. Besides from me, they threw balloons pumped up with urine at 10-year-olds. The 10-year-olds also went to the school, so they probably deserved it, but objectively, that's wrong. The definitive statement to make when describing the people I went to school with is, they are the type of people that would laugh at Schindler's List. Sounds like an exaggeration, but that actually happened. I've never seen Schindler's List. It might be a hoot, but there are many pieces of evidence to the contrary. Number one, it's about the Holocaust. That's it. That's the only point I need. Going to school with people that lacked empathy, I was bullied a lot because, look at me. I look like Peter Parker before the powers. I describe myself back in those days, and me now as a matter of fact, as Ralph Wiggum with self-awareness. Ralph Wiggum is innocent and good-hearted, but if you notice, he's always alone. But he was blessed with ignorance to not notice that. And even if he did, he'd go, where is everyone? Ooh, a light bulb, and quickly get distracted. The problem with me is that I am very aware of my surroundings, so I understood fully that I was all by myself. Not like a lone wolf. Every year I experienced the new bully, like the changing of the guard that did everything but. In year 8, the head bully was a fat Indian guy taunting others who were less chubby than him for being fat. That's a very black kettle. In year 10, they were children, 3 years lower than us because they knew they could get away with it. Have respect for your elders. You still believe in Santa, and I can so easily take that away from you. Speaking of elders, in year 11, we were bullied by year 12, so you had to play with us because no one in their year level would play with them, yeah. No one would play with them because they were jerkwads. I was also sporadically bullied by teachers. A gang of Napoleons who didn't have enough assurance in themselves to be in the same room as someone who was 6 foot. I don't blame you, I am as intimidating as a stick insect. The worst year was year 7 because I was bullied by my friends. People who had spent the previous years getting to know me and pulling their collective knowledge of my weaknesses to take me down to Isolationville. Population not even you. Their favourite gag was to make fun of my ability to have panic attacks easily and that I was crying all the time. This was later diagnosed as a mental disorder, but boy did I think it's funny. What gives me solace is that since we share friends on Facebook, I sometimes see new pictures of them. And they look like douchebags now! So at least I'm not the only one who hates them anymore. The general population does too. Yeah, I've seen a therapist! The first psych professional I ever saw was in year 7 at school, and based on the above track record, it's okay to assume it didn't go well. The first thing they did wrong was not tell me that I was going to therapy that day, and this far into the year, I was on edge, in the same way that Wile E. Coyote always was. Secondly, they made the announcement of therapy a very public event, which a lot of patients don't want. Instead of discreetly asking the teacher to pull me aside from class, they had to yell, "Daniel needs to go to therapy now! Where's Daniel?" The trifecta was hit when my therapist, who I am convinced hated me based on what he said, gave his 2 cents. I told him my biggest fear was public speaking, evidenced by it turning me into a sobbing, petrified, rocking back and forth "this actually happened to me" mess. So his advice was to get me to do an oral presentation every day in front of the entire year level until I stopped being afraid. That's a spicy meatball. So if I had a fear of dying, you would murder me and horrifically bring me back to life every day until I didn't overcome it, but became numb with fatigue. What type of therapist says that to a kid? My school's therapist. But I believe my nemesis was the principal. I never formally met him, but he was the physical embodiment of that school. And he didn't even show up to the last battle. 13 years of partially raising me, and he wasn't there for my final day because he was on holiday. A holiday that directly followed the term break. Because sitting on your work throne instead of the one you have at home must have made you so sleepy. All I knew about him was what he looked like. He wore glasses because he had bad eyesight and he was losing his hair. Typical signs of a sinner. What was I supposed to learn going to that school? It certainly wasn't how to be a good person because there was a shortage on both sides. A teacher told this student, who had bullied me since day dot, who had been suspended from school for forcibly cutting someone else's hair, that he would make a good lawyer. Because he's the kind of guy that wants to see justice done. Oh, what's that? Is that the sound of history repeating itself? It is! Barabbas just got freed over the Son of God again! I have to make references to the Bible because in the small chance that someone from that school sees this, they're not going to be able to understand me without it. In the words of Richard Feidler, Jesus loves you, he just hates what you're doing. People were punished more for not wearing the $245 blazer than getting into physical fights. Because it's more important to raise funds for that 5th Assembly Hall that no one you know will use. Quote from the newsletter. By using the words of a parent who spoke to me last year, "Thank you for not using our children as a marketing tool. They are worth so much more than a number. You value the whole person." Ironically, the child of this parent received an ATAR with university bonus points of 99. Ironically? Really? Don't use words you can't understand. Our road safety slideshow had sound effects. Serious pictures like this, coupled with audio like this, like the aftermath of a wacky race. And education later, what we're left with is literally hundreds of moralless mongrels released upon the world like a disease who can do whatever they want because they went to a private school, spending their time standing in the middle of the parking lot blocking active traffic like they were asking for it. It's time for a sad story. I have to get this off my chest. Just think about Ralph Wiggum and it'll be over soon. Playing basketball introduced me to most of my friends, but it also introduced me to a lot of foes. some of which would only affect me. I noticed that things were fine if I myself wasn't involved in the game, so I stopped playing. But I had to keep bringing the basketball, of course. I didn't want to worry my friends. Well, I got to watch. I brought my own basketball to school and was intimidated out of playing with it for over a year. Where's my parade? While we were playing basketball, everybody else was lazing around, probably complaining about how their Angels halos were too heavy. So when the end of school awards arrived, the basketball players were the only nominees for the Jock Award. I know, me as a jock is hilarious. When the winners were announced, every single basketballer got their name called, except mine. They didn't know I was there. And I felt a wash of being overwhelmingly pathetic. It was like everything, not just the basketball, but everything meant nothing to them, while it meant so much to me. So much so that I've written over 2,000 words on them, and they probably couldn't even write 2 words about me, because it takes a very special person to know my first and last name. What happened to the meek inheriting the earth? Why is no one nice to me? I'm the meek! I'm at university now, and it is so much better. Or just filled with better people. Even if I'm by myself there, it's still better. Being in a white room, empty to the brim, is better than going back to the academy of the Horned Ones. There were good guys at my school, people who I admire because they stuck it out to help. My year 7 teacher, she was by my side for that year. She helped me cope with anxiety and depression, and she got as much retribution for me as she could carry. My friends, people who consciously made the decision to give me the time of day. They made me feel like I was less of a social outcast because they were with me too. Misery demands company. My year 10-11 teacher, Ms. Hill Thomas Bernice Mason, the teacher who taught me how to write. If I'm forgetting anyone, it's probably because you were caught in a repressed memory. That's how trauma works. The rest of you? Well, you should know by now, and I don't want to repeat myself. You have to keep up. Look at me now. I have a YouTube channel. My school turned me into the person that I am today. That's not a good thing! For so long, that place ate away at everything good, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop them. I felt so worthless. I still do. I'm still trying to control the memories of that place almost 3 years later. It is my responsibility, as a human with rights, to at least get one hit in. Will it be enough? No, but beggars can't be choosers. If this connects, stay down. For the both of us. Because I need to move on, and you need to shut up. To be fair, I didn't get to meet every single person at that school. I was too busy hiding in the bell tower yelling, Esmeralda! To those who I was never introduced to, hello, my name's Daniel. Rough day at school, huh? What's new, am I right? I am the Green Arrow! You have failed this city! How did I do that voice for so long? It's ridiculous. I really hurt my arm. The Arrowverse, the most popular alternative to binge-watching superheroes. On the CW for an hour, 4 times a week for half the year, they have much more material to film than most shared universes, which means more possibilities to screw it up. But they persist, and they can do it just like the rest of them. Screw up, I mean. This is a rant on everything Arrowverse, so there will be spoilers. Spoilers including Harrison Wells as Reverse Flash, Hank Henshaw as the Martian Manhunter, and Damien Dark is really blonde. Let's start with The Flash and say that Season 1 is fantastic, and that Who is Reverse Flash mystery is done very well. Even after his reveal, I'm still watching the show going, but who is Reverse Flash? And it gets me every time. I might be stupid, or it might be that good of a storyline. Then the show was renewed, and instead of doing something new, the creators decided to do the whole thing again. But worse. We will put Zoom in the show, and it'll be someone the audience has already met. Plot twist. But who is Zoom? I don't know, but we got time to figure it out. 20 weeks later, the head writer's acting like Ferris Bueller with his feet on the table. So who is Zoom supposed to be? Oh, Jay? Jay. Yeah, sure, Jay. That makes sense. No, it doesn't! There's a scene at the beginning of the season where Jay has tests run on him, and there's no speed force in his system. And when he does get his speed back using the velocity drug, his lightning is gold, not blue. So he can't be zoomed. But the excuse they used to explain it all away was that it was a time remnant. Time remnant is what they use when they need a quick fix to the story, because it's just confusing enough so that nobody understands it, but makes you think you have a vague idea of what it is. Like calculus. Both of those J reveals weren't done very well. That's right, there were 2 J reveals, because in Zoom's prison, the man with the mask is Jay Garrick from Earth 3. Don't worry if you didn't see it coming, because the writers didn't either. It's clear at this stage that they're just making it up on a weekly basis. Great stories take time to prepare, which I know they can do, but they won't because they're earning a lot of money just pumping out trash! But I'm a calm man. I would have let Season 2 go. Except they did the exact same thing for Season 3, only even worse! Savitar is future Barry. And the reason behind this is because he's stupid or he doesn't understand logic. Let me pull a Cisco Ramon and explain through the use of a whiteboard. From episodes of The Flash, we know that Savitar is from the future. When he escapes the Speed Force prison, he emerges in the past and plots to get revenge against Barry for trapping him in the Speed Force prison by killing Iris. We then learn that he will kill Iris, and in retaliation, Barry will trap Savitar in the Speed Force, and so on. This is called a circle, boys and girls. No end. He keeps complaining about how he's stuck in eternal torment, but he's doing it to himself. All he has to do is one thing different from what he already knows he's done. It's like watching someone with amnesia on Groundhog Day. Nothing else makes sense either. Why would Caitlin trust Savitar if he has the same face of someone she's trying to kill? If Savitar is a time remnant and nobody wants him in this time, why not just go back to the time he's from? And the most important question, if Savitar was Barry, why would he kill HR if he knew he was the best character on the show? HR was the one light in a very bleak season, and they snuffed him out to get the opposite of laughs. The season ends with Barry taking Savitar's place in the Speed Force prison, which is what drove him to become Savitar in the first place, by the way. Iris is crying, Caitlin has a supervillain stuck in her head, and Julian is still British. Fate's worse than death. Darker tones can be done on superhero shows, and they have been done well. Look at Arrow. Season 1 and 2 of Arrow are great seasons of television. But then it wasn't Arrow anymore. It was the Arrowverse. And suddenly new shows were being added, and everything had to be tonally similar. You can have a character called Dollmaker, a serial killer who suffocates women and turns them into living dolls, and in that same episode you can have someone called Mr. Terrific, whose only ability is nerd. Green Arrow admitted that he loved to murder, and that's fine. Not the murder thing, but for the character and what he's gone through. Keep that up. But like the Flash, don't do it too much or you'll go too far. Black Canary. Black Canary's death. To be more specific, Laurel Lance's Black Canary's death was too far. Because they've killed a lot of canaries on that show. Must be filmed in a gas-filled mine. These comics are 100 years old, and there's room for new interpretations, but don't forget where you came from. Superman is from Krypton, Batman lives in a cave, and Green Arrow and Black Canary love each other forever, and they are both alive. But they're trying to make up for it now. Oh, look! There's a woman with the same powers as Black Canary, and her name is also Dinah. This is what you wanted. Also, Earth 2 Black Canary, called Black Siren, is officially on the main cast of that show. So now we have 2 women named Dinah who love to cry. All these problematic worlds and then some collide in DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which had no chance. The premise of Legends is that they're a group of superheroes who aren't good at their job, but can be if they work together. They're misfits. But there's a difference between a misfit and a burden. There's so many awful teammates to talk about, I don't even know where to begin. Heatwave, there we go! What is Heatwave doing on the team? He and Captain Cold were brought on because of their criminal mindset, but Captain Cold's most valuable moments was when he was acting like a good guy. So they don't need a criminal. They already have a fire guy. His name is Firestorm, and Firestorm can and has turned things into jelly beans. There was an episode where they got rid of Heatwave. He was fired, no pun intended, and he won't leave them alone. Like me with the one person I know at a party. Here's a brief history of Heatwave over the first 2 seasons of Legends. Dead, betrays the team. Dead, betrays the team. Tries to kill himself, haunted by an evil spirit, betrays the team dead. Attention seeking is what I'd call him. Yeah, he can only save the world when all eyes are on him. He dies more times than Hawkman. And that's saying something. There's new heroes joining each season, and they can be just as bad. Citizen Steel, or Steel as your friends call you, I've got a bone to pick with you. Stop calling yourself Steel. Steel is John Henry Irons, a member of the Superman family who built a metal suit and hammer to replicate Superman's powers after his death at the hands of Doomsday. Yes, I'm single. Yes, the name may be weird, but you picked it once, so you'll pick it again. Steel is taken. It'd be like if you invented a new meme/dance move, couldn't come up with a name for it, so you decided to take the name of a YouTuber who, not conventionally successful, puts in the time and produces quality content. So now whenever someone hears the word dab, they're immediately reminded of the dance move, and the original guy can't ever escape the shadow. This has nothing to do with the Arrowverse, I'm realizing. It's not just how Citizen Steel calls himself Steel. I don't like anything about him. He's portrayed as this fusion of, oh, he's a genius, but he's also a ladies' man. I don't know about you, but for me, it's hard to relate to someone who is perfect. He's the one loved by the only heterosexual woman on the ship, and now he has superpowers instead of a blood disease. But that ending, too. The ending of Season 2 that defies logic to the same degree as Hawkgirl's mace. According to Back to the Future rules, this is time. And whenever you mess with time, you create a divergent path or alternate timeline. Now, it's still connected, and this is what makes up reality. In Season 2 of Legends, the Legends and the Legion are after the Spear of Destiny, which creates new realities. This is reality, so creating a new reality would look like this. So it's not connected, and the only way to get back to it would be to alter reality again. Now, when Reverse Flash created his new reality Doom World, then destroyed the spear, this got erased, so there's no way to get back to it. I never thought I'd say this, but the villains should have won! To make up for it, the cliffhanger ending for Season 3 was dinosaurs. That's it. Okay. Final point about Legends, White Canary? The Wave Rider is not your personal bang bus. Stop trying to have sex with every woman that ever lived. Because at this rate you will. Speaking of women, there is Supergirl, which is... Yeah, it's alright. Let's just move on. I don't want to make fun of Supergirl because it already got cancelled once and it's the least popular of the four. It feels wrong. I've seen the show. I got Season 1 for Christmas. I didn't ask for it, but it was by DC, so I was happy to have it. My only disappointment in Season 1 was that the main villain was called Non. So why didn't they ever refer to him as, oh, he's trying to destroy the human race? I'll have none of that. Never mind, I answered my own question. But I watched and liked Season 1, and I watched and liked Season 2. Which is trailers. I like Supergirl when she's on other shows. I liked the show. I just wouldn't go out of my way to watch it. Why can't I say anything nice? And that is a breakdown on the entire Arrowverse. Wait, the animated shows. At the end of the day, I keep watching it, so they're doing something right. But there are repeating issues that, if they don't fix, might affect the fan base in about 20 years' time. They make gigantic set pieces like time travel or the death of Black Canary, but it becomes clear quickly that they don't know what they're doing beyond one episode with it. And the story structure is always the same. Good guy kind of wins, plot twist, and everyone looks better in leather. Plan ahead. Like me. I was going to paint over my eyes for this episode to make me look more like Green Arrow. Then I realized I didn't have the materials to get it to come off, and I would have looked more like a raccoon than anything. The Arrowverse can be better, because it can inspire people. If not, whatever. Like in life, you can always blame it on your time remnant. What does that mean?